Hey guys, welcome. So today we are going to cover this question dart game from Green Book. So currently we are in the base theorem and conditional probability section. So there are many questions before this also, but I think those questions do not require any extra comments from my end. So the explanations given are more than sufficient. So for this question, I wanted to add a point or two. So that's why I'm covering this question. So let's see dart game. So the question states that Jason throws two darts at a dartboard, aiming for the center. The second dart lands farther from the center than the first. If Jason throws a third dart aiming for the center, what is the probability that the third throw is farther from the center than the first? Okay, so and also assume Jason's skillfulness is constant. So before you go, to try to solve this question or think of the solution approach, the important point here is to understand what the question is actually asking. So if you read the third line here, what is the probability that the third throw is farther from the center than the first? So what they mean by this is, what is the probability that the third throw is not the best throw? Why? Because it is mentioned that before the third throw is thrown, it is mentioned that the first dart is the best throw. Why? Because it is closest to the center. And now second dart is second best, and it is just being asked that the third dart should not be the best. No matter wherever it lands, if it's like farther than two or earlier than two, it should just be the far from one. So let me summarize that with a picture. So let's imagine you throw your dart 1 here and dart 2 somewhere here. Now the only condition is that dart 3 should be at a distance farther from where 1 is thrown. Now it can be here or here, that is completely immaterial. So once you understand this, and so I'll name these three events D1, D2, D3 of the probability that the event that D1 is best, D2 is the event that D2 is best, and D3 is the event that D3 is best. Now we need to understand that the event that D1 or a D2 or D3 is best are independent of each other. And it is very intuitive if you think about it for a second, because if let's say if you had already thrown n darts on the dartboard, and now you are going to throw the n plus 1th dart. Now whether it is going to be the best till now is completely immaterial of what you have thrown before that, or for that matter what you are going to throw after that. As because for this to verify this point, it is mentioned that the Jason's skillfulness is constant. So if it has been mentioned that that like with each successful throw, I'm going to like my skill level is going to improve, then obviously this would not be the case. But here it is mentioned that the skillfulness remains constant no matter how many success or failure I have to go through. So for any dart, the probability that it is going to be a success or a failure is irrespective of what has happened before that or what is going to happen after that. Okay. Now here also one more point to note is that here out of the three darts, so for this question, so three darts are being thrown, one of them is going to be the best. So the by best here we mean in a relative sense. So no matter low, so suppose one comes here, two comes here, and three comes here. All three are very far from the center, but still in these three, the one which is closest to the center is going to be the best throw. And since all three of them are independent, we can see that the probability that D1 is best, union that D2 is best, union that D3 is best is equal to 1. Why? Because all three events are mutually exclusive and independent of each other. So probability that any one of them is best, that let's say D1 is best, is simply going to be 1 upon 3. And if this is the condition when D1 is best, what will be when probability D1 is not best? It is going to be 1 minus 1 by 3, 2 by 3. And this D1 I can simply replace it with DI, because this is true for any of the dart, as all dart throws are independent of each other. So now the question becomes very simple. It simply asks like, what is the probability that the third dart which I throw is not going to be the best? So I don't care what has happened before it or what is going to happen after it. I just need to know the number of throws there are, because I need it to find out whether this the probability of whether it is being best or not, and that is going to be 1 by n. So here probability that D3 is not best is simply 1 minus probability that it is best. So out of n throws, one of them has to be best and each has equal probability. So 1 upon 3, our answer is 2 by 3. So the important point to note in this question is just the understanding of the question, as the what they are asking is framed slightly differently. So there is a chance that you might understand something else from the question and go in some other direction and end up wasting your time. So I hope my explanation was clear. If there is any query, please feel free to ask me in the comment section. And thank you. See you next time with another question.